It took me 3 years and 8 months to reach six figures in my SEO career. My goal for you is to get there faster than I did. There's no reason you can't rake in more than 100,000 a year doing SEO as a 9 to 5 within 2 to 3 years of starting. I'm going to share with you information you will never find anywhere else on the internet. My goal here is to show you exactly how to map out your SEO career and do it strategically so you can get to 100K as fast as possible. Before we dive into the SEO career path, there's one crucial thing that you have to understand. Job markets favor employees or employers. At its extreme, it's the difference between an inbox full of job offers or an inbox full of rejections. As of 2024, in most industries, it's an employer market. This dynamic is vital to understand because it affects how quickly you can reach 100K and beyond. Let's talk about the actual career path. You'll typically go through 4 levels. The first level is the entry level. The second level is what I call middle level. The third is senior level. And the fourth is what I call individual contributor manager. In this next part, I'm going to walk you through each level. And I'm also going to share with you mistakes that I made along the way so you can learn from my mistakes and not have to make the same ones that I did. So let's dive into the beginning of the SEO career path. The primary goal of your first 2 SEO jobs is very simple. One is to just gain real world experience. Two is to move on to a higher paying position within 4 to 8 months. In the beginning of your career, job hopping is more acceptable. Employers don't care if you hop around when you're new to the game. Entry level and middle level roles tend to involve repetitive tasks. Once you've adapted to the role, staying means mindless repetition, aka career stagnation. If you find you're no longer learning anything new at any point, head for the fucking exit and get the fuck out of there. You're just burning time and stagnating. Speaking of burning time and stagnating, I stayed at my first SEO job for 10 months. I stayed at my second SEO job for 14 months. Did you catch the mistakes there? Don't stay at your first 2 jobs longer than 4 to 8 months. Remember this, major key, another one. As soon as you've gained the real world skills that allow you to land a higher paying job, if you stay where you are undervaluing yourself. Write that on your arm, tattoo it on your forehead. Remember that until you die. Let's put this all in perspective. My third job started at 70K. Had I would have left my first 2 jobs around the 4 to 8 month mark, I would have gotten to the higher paying job faster and I would have netted an additional $20,000 to $30,000. All you have to do is learn from me and not make the same mistake yourself. Let's move on to the senior level role. There are a few new things you need to be aware of here. Remember how I just got done telling you in your first couple jobs, you should switch jobs every 4 to 8 months? Yeah, well, that doesn't apply here. I would aim for at least a year, if not a little longer, and I'll explain why. Picture this. You're on Zoom, you're virtually sitting across from an interviewer, and they say something like, "Hey, looking at your resume, I couldn't help but notice you bounce around like a fucking pinball every 8 months. What's the deal with that?" Now you're on the defensive, and you have to try to justify why you were job hopping. This exact scenario, well, maybe not word for word. No one's ever told me I bounced around like a fucking pinball, but if they did, that'd be pretty funny. But this scenario has happened to me multiple times, and it leaves a lingering skepticism that's hard to shake. Now, even though I'm saying stay a little bit longer at your senior role, don't ever get complacent and stagnate. Feel free to allow your senior level position a little bit more time on your resume. That's all I'm saying. Remember, at the senior level, the rules have changed, and so should your approach. The senior level positions also present somewhat of a fork in the road. They present a question of, do you want to leave agency life forever and go in-house, which is what I did, and I think in-house is 100 times better, or do you want to stay at an agency and keep grinding it out? Now, it's not a one-way door. You can go in-house and then return to agency if you want, but let's be real here. Everybody in marketing that I've ever talked to that left their agency never went back. They all prefer to be in-house over agency. Every one of them. I wonder why. For now, just keep it in the back of your mind. Before we dive into the last level, I'm going to share a story from my senior level days. And this was something that I did right. So pay attention. I was making 70K when I started my third SEO job. After 18 months at that third job, I got a new job making 80K. So $10,000 increase. Here's where it gets interesting. I actually got fired 2 weeks into the new 80K job for giving the interview answers to my friend. Oops. 2 weeks later, I got the in-house job that I have now, which started at 100K. Haha! What I really want you to get out of this story is the power of job hopping. In a matter of 4 weeks, I boosted my salary $30,000 from 70 to 100K, all because of job hopping. You're much more likely to get a big pay increase by hopping jobs than you are to get a raise at your current job. It's uncomfortable because you have to learn a new company's way of doing things and kind of lose all the relationships you had at the old company. It may be painful in the short term, but it pays dividends in the long term. When you're ready to leave your first senior SEO job, you should be on the hunt for SEO manager jobs or higher paying senior level jobs. For me at this stage, I went from an agency senior SEO job to an in-house senior job. And then about a year later, I got promoted to SEO manager at that same in-house job. At this stage, you should start making bigger paychecks. I've seen jobs for SEO managers from 90K all the way up to 160K. At this stage, you're the mastermind behind the SEO strategy without having to manage a team. So how do you move forward from this stage? You get a higher paying SEO manager job. You're going to want to ride the SEO manager title as far as you can. Once you start to close in on middle six figures, individual contributor roles in general become more rare. To move past this level, you need to start managing an SEO team, or you can segue into other titles. So you could do demand generation manager, digital marketing manager, or any marketing management or executive position. How do we take everything we learn and put it into a real world step-by-step application? The process is always the same at a fundamental level. You accumulate real world SEO experience, you learn as much as you can in each role and max out your growth potential. Then you look for a new job, or you can try and negotiate a raise within your current company. But in most cases, you're going to get the biggest raise from getting a new job. You repeat this cycle over and over. The only major difference is earlier on in your career, you can job hop more. Later on in your career, you have to stay put a little bit longer. Let's say you got hired in your first position. Here's exactly what I would do, step by step. I would set a reminder 4 months from now. And in that reminder, all it's going to be is to ask yourself, have I maxed out my learning potential in this job? If the answer is yes, you start looking for a higher paying position. If the answer is no, set the reminder a little bit farther out, maybe a few months, and then ask yourself the question again. After repeating that process, now you should have a middle level job. What do you do next? You repeat the same process again. Now you've got a senior level job and more money. What do you do? Same thing again. If you repeat this process at the intervals that I prescribe to you, you should have no problem crossing the 100K barrier within 3 years. Now, this assumes that you're someone who has a good work ethic and who puts in the time to really learn and understand the things that you're doing at work. If you're serious about climbing the SEO 9 to 5 mountain, I want you to hit like and subscribe now. I don't want you to miss out on upcoming videos such as how to create a killer resume, how to ace interviews, and how to negotiate job offers. I want you to think about this. How can you move forward in your career if you're shit at interviewing? You can't. How can you get ahead if your resume gets tossed in the fucking trash? You can't. I know firsthand what it takes to move forward in an SEO 9 to 5 career, and I'm just getting warmed up.